Okay, let's wait 1 minute. Almost everyone's here. I'm going to post the link for the notes again. Sometimes I forget it. Okay. All right. Let's start. Okay. So today we're finishing module number 5, and we were asked to write and participate in the different discussion forums. And let me start with the summary of notes, which are this one. And recording will be added at the end of the session, probably a couple hours later. But this is what we are going to discuss today. Let me go back. So just select the notes if you want to follow. I already have them here. So today we'll be starting with module number 6, which is the last module of the program. And okay, so module number 5 was about AI governance, and we presented, or you were presented with two readings, one from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and the other one from UNESCO. And those are supposedly two documents that talk about AI governance. And the NIST document focuses on technical risks, while the UNESCO focuses on global ethics. So there are different ways of perceiving how AI should be governed. And the NIST document talks about this framework where they present these four entities, the four functions. You have the govern, and then you have the map, measure, and manage. So you play with all these different functions compared to what UNESCO also proposes. And in this document, you saw that there were some these trustworthiness properties. There were 7. It was like safety, and everything was related with all these different characteristics: privacy, explainability, fairness, reliability, transparency, security. And then it presents also a matrix, or a rubric, how to assess some policy. And you already did assessment on your proposal, and also all different documents that you can find online. And then in that document, we need to declare what we understand by AI generated texts, and that is different with AI assisted text generation. And we know that in the AI assisted, we are the ones who direct the creation of AI products. And also, well, you will find in the different discussion forums, people are talking about different ways they review different documents, and especially the topics about when do they review the policies, what is the scope, and how do they enforce all these different policies. So that's from the National Institute of Standards and Technology document. The other one is from UNESCO. Well, okay, so this is sorry, This is the in detail of the NIST AI framework, risk management framework. And you saw you were asked to validate or to review our U of A policies and see if they follow more the NIST risk management framework or the UNESCO one. And okay, so anyone wants to comment about this document? Did you find it interesting or is it very different from what we have? Is it a guideline or why should we be reading these type of documents? Anyone wants to comment? Gina? And the other document, did I freeze? Hello?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, there he
I
is.
think I lost the connection and I was
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
to myself. Sorry. Um, so I'm back. I don't know. Okay, so I don't remember how far did I went. I was sharing screen. Sorry. Okay. So, so I was sharing this document. Mm. Okay, so I was asking, we reviewed two documents, one from the National Institute of Standards and the other one from UNESCO. And you were asked to review some of the uh, comparisons, and then you can see that every institution has a different basis of understanding this or reviewing this. So, what are your experiences from what you read? Okay, anyone wants to share? So there was, you saw that they were very different, and
Well, the UNESCO one, is more focused on rights and had kind of a broader view and had, I guess, more of an equity lens than the other one I thought was more kind of technical in nature and more of a like an outline for how a smaller organization might actually build out their policy.
and why do you think the U of A, or what is the U of A following in their policies, AI policies,
Um, I felt like it was leaning more towards the NIST one.
the risk management?
Yeah.
Okay, and so I ask you to participate in these four discussion forums, and what I did now is up to this morning, I just took all your answers and tried to summarize using Notebook LM. So you were asked to post your Unit AI acceptable use guideline draft. We were doing that draft and ask you to validate through a different to apply the metrics. Okay, so the first one is about the U of A AI governance. Okay, and I saw a couple of documents about how, for example, our university allows you to use AI, when to use AI and when you shouldn't be using AI. Okay. Anyone wants to comment about this? And also you gave a couple of examples. Well, Jeff, you mentioned about the Glow Accessibility Lab, and Gina, you talk about the compensation team, and somebody was talking about the soil lab, the Black Kitchen, and also there was an example or use case of the College of Nursing. Anyone wants to add this or comment about this?
I know I thought of an area that I missed that I should have, because of our team's knowledge or lack thereof, that we are actually using AI embedded in certain software, but we don't have a governance plan, and I don't know how carefully they looked into it, I guess is the best way to say it.
You mean from the
It's
technical
nothing
side?
with real sensitive information, mostly with job descriptions, but the other ones, there to some extent we use it in market pay because it's embedded in the software we use. And so,
Okay. Anyone else wants to comment? No?
Gina, we have a similar situation in assessment where we're rolling out a AI that will be in the assessment. And I worked on the policy for that based on this class, really thinking about, before we turn it on for the programs to use, how would we guide them to use that so that, because when you deal with assessment, you are dealing with student data. So we have to be really clear about what they cannot use it for within this, because the AI is built into the software. It's okay that they use it in there, but they can't copy something out of there and then paste it into like Gemini. So you really have to think about, all the different ways that they might be able to use it when you're coming up with these policies was really what I found.
And so do you agree that we shouldn't rely on AI to make decisions?
yes.
So what would be our caveat when we are using AI? Who's going to make the decisions? Who's going to validate everything that's coming out from an AI model? Who is
Carlos, when I
accountable?
read when I read the University of Texas on Austin policy, they actually list a full list of things that decisions that cannot be made by AI, which I thought, well, that's great, but it's also very limiting because they might have missed one of those decisions, which is something I realized when I was trying to write a policy. Like you can't think of all the ways that people could use it.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
I have a question about who should own the policy then. So apparently I'm the only one that put AI champion in there.
Mhm.
But I thought if we have somebody making policies for our department that may not be as connected to the AI rules and what we've gone through over the last 6 weeks. Yeah, I would just think that maybe one of us can own the policy because we know who to ask for clarification. Any thoughts on that?
Well, the idea of this cohort is to at least try to homogenize some basics. We are from different departments, different backgrounds, different tasks that we do on our daily basis. So I guess what we are trying to, and it's the topic of the next module, is to establish like a community of practice around AI at the U of A, and coming from different departments, different backgrounds, but now we have some common knowledge and common language. So now it would be easier to interact among ourselves. And I have well, I don't have any specific AI guide ruling that the U of A has promoted, but at some point we can come back and For example, we saw that there is a period where you have to revise an AI guidance, and sometimes they just leave it open, or maybe the moment they publish some guideline, it will just go outdated immediately because things change so fast, and also society responds differently as it's being bombarded by different AI applications, and AI sometimes is being abused for generating content that appear on the websites. And I read that about 40% of the contents you see online are AI generated completely. So there is no human in the loop. So they just generate text and they just post it. And then we have to be more critical about what we are reading, that sometimes we are reading, I'm not going to say trash or garbage, but content that is not human generated. When we read a novel, we like to connect with the author. We also know other publications from the same author, so more or less we know what is the author thinking, what is the usual strategy, what is the style he writes, etc. But when we are confronted with AI generated texts or novels or documents, we have no idea. We cannot connect, and AI large language models, we know that they're not human, they're not intelligent, they're just writing something that for them they think it's okay, but for us maybe it does not have any meaning at all. Okay, so we have to be aware of that, and also who is going to be enforcing that you are not using or you are using AI properly? So there's who is accountable when you post something that was AI, that AI was involved with in creating that content or text or policy. So we need to be aware and mindful about how to use AI. There's a quote in the discussions forums that AI is a co-pilot, not a captain. So somebody has to be accountable, and that accountability cannot be delegated to AI. Okay, so that was, I think, of discussion forum 5.1. The next one was about comparative AI policies from different universities. So you found very low scores about the update cadence of these policies. They don't say when it's going to be reviewed, or sometimes the time or the date of updating the document is not clear or far away in the future. And also you found that the scope of these policies are more student-centric, 90% of them, and they're missing all the staff, administrative workflows, and research operations. And also, well, there is no enforcement, really. So people can get away with what they want. And about clarity, okay, they're very clear. But if you try to score the other institutions, what they're doing, these are the results. The update cadence is very low. The scope is also the mid-range. And there's no enforcement. And well, maybe it's very clear. They have clarity, but they don't know how to go. Anyone wants to talk more about the deficiencies and risks about these documents? I saw a couple of your comments, so what wants to jump in? Jeff, I saw a couple of your comments. Want to elaborate on that? Or who else? Daniel, want to comment about that?
I mean, I think the thing that stood out to me in looking at them was just how differently scoped they were. A lot of them seemed to be really focused on students, but some of them were trying to focus a little bit more on broader applications, but we're still leaving a good bit out. I was also wondering about, the extent to which that's sort of their policy for student facing or for course facing things, and maybe they also have additional policies elsewhere that are governing more specific use, or if they're in a position similar to you, where they're still kind of in the process of cobbling things together. Because I assume a lot of universities are in fairly similar positions where they're still kind of feeling it out as they go.
Okay. Rivka, can you, or Randy, you have a question?
I just wanted to make a comment that as faculty, we basically have no control over what students put into the AI. Like they will take our course notes, our lecture slides, and that's all getting fed into the AI. And as faculty, we should be following guidelines about FERPA and all of that. So I don't know, there's kind of this built-in asymmetry, but I would like to push for the faculty in my department to disclose more of their AI use, how they're using AI, how it's effective, how it's not effective with the students, because I think that that opens up the dialogue so that the students aren't using it in the shadows and the faculty aren't using it in the shadows. That's kind of where I'm kind of thinking about moving forward as I discuss some of the issues raised here with the faculty in my department.
Okay. And can someone try to score the U of A in AI policies? Are we far behind? We are above average compared to other AI policies from other universities. What is your sense of it? What is your perspective? We have some guidelines, how well they are stated. Were you aware of these AI guidelines before you start reading this module or these lectures? Anyone wants to comment? Rupa, do you have any comment?
No, I think there was a comment here in the chat that I agreed with. I think we're behind, but that doesn't mean that there's no roadway or groundwork that we can do to catch up.
Okay. Okay, so so now you think that there is a larger community that is aware of the AI policies, and also what would be our role in interpreting these AI guidelines and documents from the U of A and trying to spread the word, and also try to encourage more participation from the rest of the U of A community, academic community in general? We have a long way ahead, right?
I think
Yeah, sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go
I
ahead,
was
go
just gonna
ahead.
say, I mean, I think I kind of started working on module 6, so I might jump ahead a little here, but I mean, the community of practice I see as, that path forward, where, we're going to go out, maybe start helping people with some of their bottlenecks, strategizing with how AI might be able to help them. And I think that's enough, then you're kind of building your community right then when you're doing that. And so when you're working with people, I think we're going to naturally be talking about, some of the things like, some of the guidance document, that we made for AI use. I know I am anyway, and I've already updated mine probably 3 or 4 times since I posted it like a few days ago, just because we're always learning new things. And I mean, there's going to be people like that, I guess, and other people who want to just get it done and never want to look at it again. But I think as we move out with AI and start to do things, I think naturally we're going to have more and more people learning about it, learning about what these policies are, what policies should we have that we don't, all those kind of things.
It's a very dynamic scenario. We need to respond at some point. Okay, thank you, Jerry. Grant, you want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add that even though we've all reviewed the UA's AI use policies, I think yes, they're right there they're easy to search, they're right there on the website, but I don't think they're easy to understand just by reading unless you do something like this. So yeah, we have it, but I also think we're not just behind others. I think we're on par with other institutions, but we're definitely behind the AI. And I don't know that we can be not on. I think we'll always be behind technology. That's just the nature of institutions. They move slower. Policy moves slower than technology. So instead of having a policy that is like, oh, we're responding to what's happening, we have to figure out how to have policies that are anticipating what's coming. The other thing is, do we want policies that are coming from people who are more focused on compliance with governance or laws, or do we want them more focused like these articles? One's more focused on compliance, one's more focused on students. I think a mix is important, but I don't want this to come from the administration. I think this needs to come from groups like this, communities of practice that are talking about it and making these decisions, and then championing or lobbying or whatever word you want to use the central administration.
Okay, thank you, Grant. Deb, you want to add something?
Yeah, Grant, that was along the lines that I was thinking too. And I think the AI policies are intentionally vague because academic freedom is huge and we don't want to encroach on that. But then we find out what other students are doing, and to horror, like I've had the situation where they've uploaded my rubric and all the assignment instructions and then openly admitted that they let AI do it. I'm like, where was that in the instruction? So I think that, not that I'm scarred for life from it, but I think that has given me a different perspective or a lens for when I'm writing policy. So I think it would be good to collaborate with colleges that do a similar, topics like healthcare, um, things like that, collaborate together because maybe we could share things that have happened in the AI world with our students and faculty. And then I think one of the biggest things is like we don't know where our blind spots are because we've talked about emergence and adaptation and things like that. We don't know what the next issue is going to be. So if we already encountered a situation with AI use, it would be good to collaborate with somebody in a neighboring college that we might better, benefit by doing maybe something collaborative. So I don't know. I briefly looked at module 6, but like I would look forward to collaborating with somebody.
Yeah, remember that AI is interdisciplinary, so you have to you can see it from different angles, and every community will have their own language. So we need to learn how to communicate with different communities that use AI and to understand the relevance in that field and also how it's compared to our applications. Okay, thank you, Deb. The other one was the coding our U of A guidance. I guess we will be talking about this already. And we find that most of the policies are focused on data, not on the community, right? So this, depending on what type of data we're going to be using, we decide what type of AI we're going to be using. So, and we know that there is a completely different point of view if you're working from the NIST framework, or the National Institute of Standards and Technology framework, which is more focused on about trying to be careful not to get well, what's the right word? The right word will be risk containment, right? And compliance. So you don't want to be sued by any legal department. And compared to trying to use AI from the human rights and equity standpoint of view, and also, well, those are like different worlds. And our university obviously is more leaned towards legal issues. And so I don't know if you agree with me, but that's how we see things. But there are other ways of seeing or viewing how we can incorporate AI in our daily lives, not only our professional lives. Okay. So that was the other discussion forum. And then you were asked about your AI policy position paper, and trying to find the counter arguments, and I found yours. Well, just the strategy of using this type of construction, like they find a counter argument about what you wrote, I think helps you a lot of trying to have a stronger argument of your topic. Anyone wants to comment about this? I read a couple of your comments. Anyone wants to volunteer? Margie, March, want to comment about this?
I appreciated this model and putting together the acceptable use guideline. I edited it after I already had it up.
Okay.
And I'm already thinking I'm still going to do that. I'm sure I will. I think that's just the way it goes. I'm very interested in how the students are using it. I don't see them every day on a regular basis or every week. I get them for these very large events. And I think because they meet with other health science students who are strangers to them, I think there's some accountability in that. And I don't think they would share with each other if they were rewriting their sentences for the team worksheet to say that that's my concern, is I can put it out there and say I've disclosed on the events where I've used AI and had somebody else review it, and I've disclosed if it's been used for any reason and ask that they also disclose. But I'm not so sure how many disclosures I'll really get. I feel they might not even want to share with each other.
Okay, thank you, Margie. Ray, you want to add something from your field?
I actually haven't had the opportunity to finish that part yet, so.
Okay. Thank you. What about Liam?
Yeah, I was thinking what I wrote.
Okay.
I think I did this like last week. Just for now, I just couldn't like memorize what I wrote. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Liam. Randy, you have comment. Randy?
Randy, we can't hear you. You're talking.
She's muted. No.
Not sure what's going on. Still can't hear you, darling.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, good.
Victory!
Okay. So Margie and I had exchanged some messages about this, and I think it's because we're in similar fields, but I think like knowing how the students are using the AI, it's not just disclosing that they're using it or not. I'm kind of pushing towards seeing how they're using it. And I know that this is important for the medical school where we're concerned about students throwing information into the AI and before they ask about using it, like they're just putting information into ChatGPT, whether they're trying to build a differential or whatever it is that they're doing. I'm I'm very concerned, and I just had an IRB approved today for my course assignments where I collect the conversations between the student and the large language model that they're using. I think you need to see how they're using it. I thought that it was really interesting when was it Deb who mentioned, she found out the students are just taking her assignment and putting it into the AI and getting an answer and not reviewing anything. I think that's the level that we need to understand how people are using the AI. And in a way, I think as faculty, I need to model for my students how they should be using the AI. In the medical school, we've been talking about how clinicians should be modeling for the students how they're using the AI. It's not just don't use it or you can use it, you have to disclose that you've used it, but we want to see how you're using it. And so that's the level an approach that I'm taking right now.
Thank you, Randy. Daniel, you want to add something?
Yes, thank you. I think what would be really helpful in addressing that problem would actually be taking some class time to have a handful of thoughtful scenarios that you put to the students, have them discuss in some groups, just sort of like what the pros are, what the cons are, why you would want to do this, why you would not want to do this. Because from what I understand, I'm working on my EDD right now, and I have a couple of colleagues who are working on projects on AI. And the findings that I've been hearing from them and from at least some of the studies that have been done is that student use is generally a little bit more thoughtful than we think it is. But there's just really a wide range. There are the students who are really afraid of it. There are the students who are all in, and there are people sort of all in the middle. And so I think just getting folks, like getting this into the sunlight a little bit more, getting them talking about it a little bit more, and being able to then debrief those conversations as a faculty member with what your perspective is, I think that might be a really effective way to handle some of those concerns about it so that students can kind of know how you're approaching that, and it's not just a statement in the syllabus.
Okay, all right. Thank you, then. Okay, so that's more or less what your participation in the discussion forums was, and I'm glad now that we can feel that there's a lot of community right now around these programs. So we're going in the right direction. So let me talk now briefly of what is expected from the next module, which is the last module of the program. And this module talks about your capstone project. And you will have two readings in this module. And one has to do with the communities of practice, and the other one has to do with the Bloom taxonomy of higher level of thinking. So I don't know if you are familiar with this theory, but this is just like a guide that helps you build or construct some guide to try to help your students to learn, to help the community to learn the new topic. So there's a gradual pathway of learning going from the lower level of thinking, from remembering, for example, all the way up to analyzing and creating something. So it's just like a guide. If you're not very familiar with it, it doesn't matter, but it will just help you build something. So the first document you're going to be reading is about communities of practice, and this is more or less the intent of this program. And if you visit all the discussion forums, you will see a group of very stable number of names that are participating and generating all the discussions, and this is more or less the core of this group, and then you can feel what is the topic, what is the sense, what are the discussions around some topic. So I think we already have some community of practice in this program, and everyone is just going to participate or jump in. In any communities of practice, there's always some members of this community which are more advanced in knowledge or have more experience in the topic, and the people who are just beginning or still feel that they need more experience. They can learn a lot because of this community of practice is it's a live community. It's not just like a dead text when we are reading a book, but it's a live comments, and you will see that comments appear. Sometimes there are some arguments, counter arguments, and then the discussion is just flowing between the different members of the community. So in this paper, which is one of the classical papers of communities of practice, they will show you what is the structure of these communities of practice, and then a pathway to be building this community of practice. For example, we have been meeting weekly, right? So this is the finding number one, the design for evolution. We have been meeting weekly, and also right now we're almost are a mature community, and there is an open dialogue. We are discussing among ourselves, and we have had already 2 participations from an expert from the outside. In this case, we invited from the U of A global campus, and Nathan Pritz. He presented two ways of seeing, trying to connect everything and what is the relevance of AI. And then we have all the discussions forums, and the discussion forums is just the participation of this community. And also we have public spaces, we have private spaces. You talk among yourselves, so those are private spaces, but also we are facilitating a public space where all the communication channels are there, all the materials are there, and we are focusing on something, creating the value. So we are creating value as we continue to interact, and also we're trying to have this neighborhood bar, and also based on science. So we are trying to create something that can stand. It's an open community. It's a consensus community, and all the knowledge is being built by the community. And then we hope that this continues to grow, and in the future we will continue participating in this community of practice, and we will be involved in trying to accelerate and facilitate the AI assimilation of or the AI fluency, or that is assimilation of AI technology and practices by the community who is already involved. And you know that U of A is so wide, and so we have a lot of variety of different tasks in different department colleges offices. So I guess just having or facilitating the communication among ourselves can enrich and accelerate our AI adoption of at the university. So this is a good example of what we're trying to build, and now I hope you feel that you are part of this community of practice. So that's the other reading that you're going to be doing. Okay, and the other one is about the Bloom taxonomy. And as I mentioned, there's a way of designing a learning path for anyone when we're trying to start start reading or start learning something. So there's a lot of different steps. Like remembering will be the first step, just like, can you remind me what is the definition of this or that? And then trying to understand the different relationship with all the different concepts. And then you start applying. That's the third level. And then once you apply, you may start analyzing. So that's a higher level. And then evaluate something. You need all the different background before you start evaluating. And once you have dominated all these levels, then you can start creating something. So you cannot create something if you don't know anything about the underlying knowledge below the creation. So this is the highest level of thinking. And if you look for the Bloom taxonomy, you will find all the different verbs. And all these different verbs are just a way of stating different actions in order to achieve each of the levels of the Bloom pyramid. So if you want to know more about this, we can, or if you have more questions about this, I can try to answer your questions. But also, you can post any questions or doubts in our discussion forum for the module number 6, and we will try to answer from the community. Okay, so for this module, you will be asked to participate in 4 discussion forums. Well, you have the general questions, and then there's an activities template, similar to what we have been doing for the previous 5 modules. And the 4 discussion modules will be, we want to see the evolution of your concept map, the concept map you created in module number 1, and how it now can be enriched with all what you have learned in the past 5 modules. And then we're going to ask you to develop a plan that is going to evolve in a 3-month. So how, from your plan, what all the different steps you need to do at each stage in order to guarantee that your plan can be successful, or has to have a high probability of being successful. And then we'll ask you about all the different design decisions you took along the way. And then I'm going to ask you about if you were going to design a 6-week workshop, like the one we are currently in process. What would you change? What would you add? Or what is missing? Or what needs to be improved? So there's always a room for improvement. So that's your tasks for this week. And go back. And so modules, these are the activities of module 6. And it will explain you what is the capstone project, what's the objective, and then all the different steps you need to do before you begin, and then what are the learning objectives of each module, and what is expected from you. And then you have the reading guides, the 2 lectures, the 2 readings, the communities of practice, and the Bloom taxonomy. And then all the self-paced tasks, the 4 tasks that each week we develop. So all the details are going to be there. And also it will give you examples of different capstone projects. I don't know exactly what is that the problem you're trying to solve, but it will give you example where you can try to say, okay, it will be similar to this, or will be similar to that, so then I can try to build my own capstone project. And the capstone project includes all the different details, cannot be very vague. And then you will see how all the different previous modules are supporting the current module. Okay. And then you have the peer participation guide, which is the discussion forums. And also you will have the rubric for how to assess your activities, and then some additional guidance. Okay, so that's our tasks for this week. And any comments and doubts? And I know some of you already started, some of you already finished, but it's okay. Please participate in the discussions forums so everyone can feel being part of any community. Questions? Doubts? Thanks.
Carlos, you'd mentioned that possibly we would go, well, next week we have class, but then we would maybe go one more. Is that looking like you think that will happen?
Well, my expectation is that at least for the next session, you have a draft, advanced draft of your capstone project, and I can give you an extra week to polish your draft. The idea is that this is not an academic exercise. I want you, every one of you, to build a capstone project, which will be a plan, three-month plan that can be executed in your department, in your office, in your community, and also I want to acknowledge and take advantage of all the time you have invested in your capstone project. So we may have or organize a like a showcase, all the different capstone projects. We may have like posters, we may have small talks, but it will be not immediately, but maybe in the next month or so. There's an AI town hall coming up. There's a AI Amazon Days coming up. So there will be some events in the future where we can participate and show all the rest of the U of A community what we have done and what we are trying to create or implement or just practice. And we will be continuing as a community of practice, and we will have future editions of this workshop. And you are welcome to participate or to replicate, and also to continue building this community, because the AI fluency program at the U of A is not an easy task. And you know that all our colleagues or some of the different communities, they have different challenges about AI. So we can try to help and optimize and minimize the energy or the efforts in order to accelerate this AI adoption by the university. So that is the goal of this community, and I am happy that you are willing to participate, and also and now we are part of a large family. So I thank you for that. But yes, try to have at least the very advanced draft of your capstone project, and you will see now that we are using all our previous work and all this energy and effort needs to be acknowledged and also applied for the large benefit of the U of A community. That's the idea. So, okay, thank you, and I'll see you next week. And if you have any questions, send me an email. I may contact some of you that have there is some technical issues with their GitHub repo, so I will send them an email and maybe have a short session with them to try to fix the problem. Okay. Thank you, and have a happy next week. I hope you enjoyed the task. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.